Hello and welcome to my channel. Recently I wanted some pulled pork, so I asked my ChatGPT to make me a pulled pork recipe, because who doesn't love pulled pork? And it came up with a pretty interesting recipe that I made, but then I noticed that it needed some adjustments. But I wanted to bring this recipe to you because it's delicious. And I want to encourage people to try to use ChatGPT in the kitchen for their recipes because they can be tailored to your family size or the amount of food you have on hand. For instance, when I made this recipe, I asked ChatGPT to make me a recipe for 3.5 pounds of pork shoulder because that is what I had on hand, and it spit it out for me. Now, with any recipe, there is quite a bit of room for adjustments to tailor it to you. And that's the other thing that's great, is once it gives you the recipe, it just gives you like a little bit of an outline, and from there, you can get as creative as you want. So let's get started. First things first, we're gonna prep the garlic, the onions, and the pepper. The hot pepper in this recipe is a habanero, and this is a Scotch bonnet or a habanero pepper. The first time I made this, I used jalapenos and I de-seeded them, and it didn't come through at all, not spicy at all. So if you want a little spice, I'd say use jalapenos and include some of the seeds. We're gonna cut this up, and you're gonna need gloves. These are some of the hottest peppers that exist, and the oils will mess with all of your mucous membranes. And your mucous membranes are your eyes, your nose, things below the waist. Those are all things you don't want to touch after you've cut this up, especially if you haven't used gloves. I'm going to use gloves today, but I'm still going to pretend like I'm not and not touch anything I don't have to. I suggest starting cutting your habanero, removing your gloves, and then cutting the rest of the things, just because it'll give time, if you have gotten any oils on your hands, for it to dissipate and to rub off onto other things. And if you touch your eye with it, don't do it, especially if you're wearing contacts. All right, we are going to cut this up and then cut up the rest of the stuff, and then we'll come back and talk about the spices. You're also going to want to be really careful breathing in the fumes from when you're cutting up the habaneros, as the fumes can also cause just a slight bit of irritation in your throat if you breathe in too much. And then we'll move on to the rest of it. A 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. In a small bowl, mix together all of the seasonings, the allspice, smoked paprika, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, cinnamon, salt, black pepper, to make a spice rub. Rub the spice mixture all over the pork shoulder, making sure to coat all sides. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Heat the olive oil in a large Instapot on the saute setting or in a large Dutch oven over medium-high heat. Add the chopped onion, garlic, and habanero pepper to the Instapot or Dutch oven and saute for 2 to 3 minutes until fragrant. Add the frozen mango chunks, ketchup, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, lime juice, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon and Dijon mustard to the Instapot or Dutch oven and stir to combine. Return the pork shoulder to the Dutch oven or the Instapot. Return the lid to the appliance on slow cook for 4 hours. I slow cooked mine for 3 to 4 hours the first time, and I honestly don't remember, but I do remember that I had to throw it in the Instapot and put it in pressure cook for about 30 minutes. See, that's 4 hours. And it definitely needs more time. So I'm gonna put this, like I said, on pressure cook, and then we'll take another look at it. Let's try 30 minutes. All right. Darn it. I'm gonna have to put it back in. All right, let's try this again. Let's see here. Closer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take this out and put it into a bowl so that I can shred it, and then we gotta take the liquid out and simmer it on the stove. Or you'll see all this translucent liquid on the top. That is fat. The more fat you have on your pork, the more of that there's going to be. When this is done, I'll show you how to skim the fat off. Now, the recipe called for straining this, but I didn't want to strain it because, as mentioned before, when I had this last time, I was really wishing for some sort of chunks of fruit and stuff. So I'm hoping that that is what's going to happen this time. Now, last time I had much more oil slick, but you can see that the oil sort of incorporated a little bit. But if you just rest your spoon on the edge there, you can get some of the oil. And yes, it is tedious, but it makes a better sauce. This was my second least favorite thing to do in culinary school after properly chopping and cleaning parsley, which, if you know how to do that, you know what I'm talking about. There doesn't seem to be that much fat on here, so that's good for me. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble. All right, I'm just gonna take a little bit of this so I don't have to add the barbecue sauce to the whole thing. I'll just have a little on the side here. Spoon some sauce over this. Street tacos. Tiny little tacos. I'm gonna say, what do you think? 2. Remember not to overfill your tacos because they'll just get messy. You can always go back for seconds or just eat it straight out of the container. I shredded some cabbage, as I said before, and then I salted it so it got a little wilty. So we'll put some... The trick with these is not overfilling them, obviously. A little more difficult than it sounds. Now we can do a couple little pieces of avocado, because yum. A little dollop of sour cream. Over an onion. All right, before we take a look at this, let's go over the process of this recipe, because as I mentioned at the beginning, this recipe was created by my AI, my ChatGPT AI. All I asked it was to make me a pulled pork recipe. So what it spit out was a Caribbean style pulled pork with a mango barbecue sauce. It initially told me it wanted mango nectar, and I didn't have mango nectar, but I did have frozen mango in the freezer. So I asked it to adjust the recipe and include frozen mango, and it did. Other adjustments I made to the recipe, it called for a whole onion. It didn't specify whether it should be yellow or red, so I went with a red onion. A red onion will have much more flavor and be much more potent than a yellow onion. One of the things that I noticed the first time I made this recipe is that I did need to adjust the salt to bring out the sweetness. And yes, you heard me right. Adding a little salt to a dish can bring out the sweetness. That's one of the reasons there's salt in baked goods. I forgot to push record before I took the first bite. I'll take another bite. It's not very spicy. In fact, I don't think it's spicy at all. You'd think with a habanero in there, it would have done something. If you like it spicy, I'd suggest adding another habanero to it and seeing what happens. These are excellent. And that's it. I'm really enjoying my recipes created by my ChatGPT lately. I'm hoping to bring you a whole bunch of them. They're great starting points, and then you can just build off of it and tailor them all to your preference. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. And as always, have a wonderful day. What's up? Hi. What's up? What's up, huh? What's up? Hi. Hi. Oh my goodness, hello. Hi. 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 Do you like the camera? Do you like the camera? Oh, rub on the camera. Mama's gotta finish making dinners.